DJ Uzi, DJ Uzi. DJ Uzi, DJ Uzi.
Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. I am officially back. For anybody who is new visiting my channel, my name is Ayana and I'm a 1L at QU Law, and go check out my other videos. For anyone who is new who has joined my channel, welcome. For any returning subscribers, hello, I'm back. I've heard you guys talking in my little post saying that like when was I going to make more videos, and now I am back. I'm hoping to like vlog more during the semester so you can see what I do day to day. I feel like the first semester it really was just this thing of trying to get in the groove of things and trying to focus more so on my studies, because I need to focus on my studies if you guys plan to see these videos still. But I am officially back. I'm so happy to be back, and I just want to take a moment to say like I am done my first semester of 1L, and definitely sit back and relax because this video will be longer because one, I have not done a video in a long time, and this video is just going to be a recap of like everything that happened this semester. And I'm going to talk from new friends to outlining and just like how to navigate 1L and just like how it was for me, especially being a student who took gap years and then getting back into the groove of it. So thank you again for watching my videos. As always, please like, comment, and subscribe. And like I said, I'm going to try to put more content out, and always feel free to put in the comments things that you're looking for me to talk about or what you would like to learn more about. Right now, I am in my winter break, so I'm focusing more so on trying to apply to jobs because you know your girl need that money for the summer because it's been rough. Just like not getting check to check each day, and then now it's just like I miss my money. But that actually is going to segue into like the first topic I want to talk about. But again, hello, I'm so happy to be back to talk to you guys. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is cost. I know in the beginning I didn't tell you guys how much my books was. I was waiting for all the books to come, and then I did my little book bag reveal, and it was that. So for anyone who is not in law school yet and is interested, I bought all my books from Chegg. Obviously you have an option to buy books from the bookstore, but cheapest for me, and Chegg has been winning inside my heart. And I'm pretty sure if you've been in college or you have looked for alternate sites to buy books, Chegg has been a place to be, or Amazon. But I bought, so the books that I had received off of Chegg, I'm just looking at my notes because I wrote this down so you guys can know. My civil procedure book, I actually bought it off a student. That's another way to get books cheap. At my school, we have like this group chat of like just different years of students, and they sell their books to 1L since professors don't deviate too far away from books that they used in the previous semesters. So I bought a book off of 2L, I believe she is, for $75. I did have to get my civil procedure book. Well, all my other books were from Chegg. So my civil procedure rules book was $30.49. It probably was like $60 at the bookstore. For the civil procedure book, I feel like it was like upwards towards $200. But Chegg, again, the federal rules book was $30.49. Criminal law was $75.49, which was how much at the bookstore? I know for sure it was over probably like $178 or something like that. For my writing and analysis book, so that's my legal writing, that book was $55.99. And I don't think it was too far off from the bookstore because it wasn't really an expensive book, but still it was cheaper than the bookstore. So we have this other book for legal writing called Owlwood. It's another legal writing book, obviously. It was $14.99 on check. My torts book was $93.99, and I know for sure that book was over $200. So that was a steal, and that's all my books for what do you call it? Last semester. I can give you a I think is also important, something I forgot to say, is that for my contracts book, it was from West Publishing. So West Publishing gives us the option to preview the book for 2 weeks, the virtual book, and then I liked the virtual book so much for contracts that I actually paid for it. And West Publishing does this for all like students, where you get to sample the book for 2 weeks and then you pay for it. And also, they give you a 15% discount. So that's what I used. In a total, I believe my book was 190 for contracts. So contracts was like my most expensive book, if anything. Date of what books I well, I already ordered for the next semester. So next semester, I will have Civil Procedure 2. So I had Civil Procedure 1 this semester. Okay, so I guess I should go over what classes I had. So this first semester, I had Civil Procedure 1. I had Criminal Law, Torts, Legal Writing, and I had a Foundations class. And that's more so like a book. I said a book, a class that has like actual attorneys coming in, just telling you about the career. And you can have that not one on one, but it's like a small group, but you can have build those connections with attorneys and them trying to tell you how it will be once you start becoming a practicing lawyer. QU's mantra is to teach you to be a whole lawyer. So just about not losing yourself once you go into the law field, and just trying to keep us balanced and shaped. But this semester, I will have Civil Procedure 2. And the way they do it here at my school is the first semester was 25% of our grade, and then Civil Procedure 2 is going to be 75% of our grade. So when my transcript comes back, it's going to be 1 grade for Civil Procedure. And then the same for contracts. So contracts was 25% the semester we did now, and then the next semester will be 75%, which is going to show up as 1 grade on my transcript. Now I won't have torts anymore, so I'll have constitutional law and property, and I believe foundations again. The difference between this semester, so torts was my only 4 credit course last semester. So this semester, property is 4 credits and constitutional law is 4 credits. So yeah, it's probably going to get rough. But yeah, for those books, the constitutional law book, I believe at the bookstore, it was like $279. And on check, I got it for $108. And also for my property book at the school, it's $150. And I got it for $65. That's what I got it. So I'm telling you, check got the deals. So that should take some stress off. I'll probably do a total amount, like probably right here, as I'm like thinking about how much money am I really spending. But besides the point. Yeah, so that's how the cost was looking for books and budgeting. So if you are a student who currently is saving up for law school and trying to see how much you're going to buy for or pay for books, then looking at alternate sources can be helpful. And again, you don't have to buy brand spanking new books. I know people you're like, oh, I want to buy a new book because you're just the nitty gritty. Oh my gosh, I'm new here. Don't waste your money. You probably will get lucky and probably don't find a lot of highlights in the book, honestly. And you're only using these books for a semester in some cases. So if you can just rent it out, definitely rent if you can. Also something my school does, so we have to pay for a meal plan, a commuter meal plan, because they don't have on-campus housing, and that's about $225, but that automatically comes out of like my student loans that I take out for that. So yeah, that comes from the student loans once I try to get approved for it. Also, something I learned very quickly, I ordered takeout a lot, which is something you definitely don't want to do in law school because it's just like it'll eat your money up. And so definitely I think it's necessary to that I should have had was like a solidified budget and not just thinking like, oh, I want to get a check, another check and things like that, like you're not working anymore. So definitely budgeting was like on an all-time low this semester, and definitely I want to get better because of the fact that you got to pay for your rent, pay for your utilities, and then whatever you have left over is all you have left for the semester. So you just want to make sure that you're doing the best you can, you know, as far as budgeting and paying. Like, I had to depend on my parents a lot, and that's something that I didn't want to really do either because I'm just like, I'm an independent woman. But definitely just trying to save. If you are not a law student yet, just try to save as much money as you can because you will need that, because during the first year of law school they don't want you to work. So it's definitely best to, you know, do the best you can with what you got. The next thing I want to talk about is classes. This is the big one. I already went down the list of different classes that I took this semester, but I will say by the end, my favorite versus least class. My favorite at first, I feel like crim law and contracts are going neck to neck. Not to say I don't like these two classes still, but I think contracts got criminal law a little bit over. Just a little bit, because I'm going to have the same professor next semester, so I'm hoping it'll just become like better, you know. But yes, contracts has taken the win for my favorite class this semester. My least favorite class is torts. It could be, a nice part of it was because of who I had as a professor, and then another part was just like learning about torts and how it is. It's just like people really just be making laws and be saying that it's okay to do certain things, and that like, especially when you learn about medical malpractice, and that's just like the wrongs in the medical field, and it just solidifies why people don't trust doctors. But I'm not going to go down that little rabbit hole because that's not important right now. Let's just say that I don't see myself being a personal injury lawyer. That's not the pathway I want to go. But anyone who does want to do it, good luck. Yeah, but those are my favorite and least favorite classes. Also, as you guys can see in my like first vlog that I did in the beginning of the semester, law school has so much reading. Reading is all the homework you have to do, but you also have to understand what you're reading, because your professor is going to cold call you, which I'm going to talk about a little bit later, but just lots of reading. If you do not like to read, then maybe law school is not for you, because they're going to be giving you a lot of reading from each class, and they don't care that you have other reading. And then it's just like to sprinkle legal writing in it, because legal writing, you don't have to wait for this big test at the end of the year, not the year, at the end of the semester, like most of your doctrinal classes. You're just simply handing in papers. Legal writing will throw a paper due the following week while you got like 100 to 150 pages that you got to read for the weekend. And it's just like, oh, well, how do you do this to me? And it's just like you have to be able to adjust and assimilate around whatever work you're getting. And so that was something that like hit me. I feel like overall the reading was manageable, and this is like more so not a controversial thing, but something that I see many people go back and forth with as far as like case briefs. Case briefs are literally you breaking down a summary of the case that you just read. And it's supposed to help you see if you truly understand what you just read. Which in the beginning, I was doing a lot of case briefs, but I saw that it was taking so much time. So I'll be spending 3 hours in combination reading and then also doing case briefs. And you would think, like, oh, well, maybe this is not too much, but it is very draining, especially when you got several other classes that you have to read for. So definitely case briefing was a lot at times, but I will say it helped me better understand the cases that we were reading and really had me think through it, you know? So, yeah, the whole thing about just like law school, reading, yes, that is very true. When people say it is, it really is. So, just be prepared for all my people who are coming to law school. As far as the type of like reading, I know a lot of people said that it was like really dense reading that you would have to do. And I feel like sometimes the reading can be like interesting. There are readings that are very dense. I just think of this freaking case inside contracts called Basakis versus Dematis. And I sat there and really tried to dissect that reading. I was like, I am not going to look for outside sources. I'm going to understand this. I did feel really good after I was able to like look up the words, which is also something else. But to close that off, yes, that was like a really dense reading to try to get through. So you do have those type of readings throughout law school in different courses. I did have, I feel like I had a lot of interesting readings in criminal law. Of course, it's criminal law. A lot of the cases are from way back when in the past. But still, I feel like it's pretty recent. They say that, a lot of people say that it's like way in the past, but I don't feel like that it's that far in the past. But yeah, I feel like if anything, the more archaic readings are in like torts and contracts, because of the fact that they're in like the 1800s and you're just like, whoa. Yeah, I feel like I tried to make the readings like interesting to me, reacting to it, trying to make it interesting in some way. Maybe it'll be a little bit different next semester since I will have constitutional law and property, so we'll see. As far as studying methods, I consider my studying reading that, well, doing the actual homework and also taking notes along with case briefs. And then I will have a portion on like what I did specifically for finals because of the fact that it was like a little bit different. But yeah, I feel like a lot of my professors were cool this semester. Also, as I mentioned in previous vlogs, I did join SDR, and that's just the Society of Dispute Resolution team. I did have to do a competition, and me and my partner, we did a great job, whereas though we earned a spot on the team. We did try out for a competition, but it went to someone else since you only have a limited amount of spots that you can send people to competition. But we did help in doing like, what do you call it? Drills. Well, we did practice drills with the people who were going to competition. So that was cool to feel like we were included. Also, from the jump, I joined Balsa because it's so important to find your community. They had little events and it was cool to like go out with them and to see a little bit of the area since I'm not from Connecticut. So it was cool to be like just around locals in a sense. My faculty mentor, she is the best. I definitely went to, she did hold events for her other mentees as well so that we could all catch up and stuff like that, and she's just so cool. And as far as joining the different groups, while in my first year it wasn't too much on me since I didn't participate in the competitions for SDR, and I feel like that would have been like way more because of the fact that you had to do like meetings. Well, not meetings, but like practices in order to prepare for the big competition. So that may have made my experience a little bit different, but I didn't. So I didn't have that stressor on me. To close out this section of the video, I forgot to mention that I am a Themis bar rep, and basically my role is to like promote Themis, and I will at the and well around the time when it's time to prep for my bar prep, I can get free bar prep from Themis. I'm definitely very excited. They don't typically take 1Ls, typically upperclassmen, but I guess he just like my personality enough to do it. But I'm excited. The Themis takes the approach of splitting up your videos into small, well, making videos that are smaller so that you can comprehend them better, and then also take little quizzes along with it. So I am excited to be a bar rep. I know it's 1L, and so they're probably thinking like, whoa, why are you taking so much time thinking about this? But it's good to think about it now because to pay for the bar exam and bar prep is thousands and thousands of dollars. So definitely do not be afraid to invest in your future. But let's get back to the video. Also, I should say, I did not complete all my readings this semester, and I went in and I was like, I'm going to read every single case. There was a class that I read every single case for because you just had to be up to date because of the fact that if you were on cold call, this person gave us constructive absences. If you didn't do the case briefs, yes, for him it was required, but that's fine. But for the most part, I read a majority of my readings this semester. And, you know, I felt down about myself, just like, oh my God, why can't I read all the readings? But like I said, them legal writing papers would come in and I'd be like, oh my God, and not being able to manage it well, whereas though I had to sacrifice some reading for some classes. But I was able to read some case briefs before class to see how it was going, and then some professors were like fine if I was to email them and ask them like not to call on me that class because they just understood because they were a law student before. So that was like really comforting to know that like your professors could work with you in that sense. So yep, you guys, if it's anyone else who did not read every reading, I'm there with you. And for anybody who's watching this, I hope, and this is not to say don't read all your readings, because of course you want to read all your readings so that you can get the best of your knowledge, but I'm just sharing an experience with you that I couldn't get to every single one, even though I wanted to. And there's no sense in me feeling down about myself because I couldn't. So yeah, just wanted to share that transparency with you guys. Also, something I think will interest you is I did not purchase Quimby. Quimby is what do you call it, a supplement that people use in order to help with their case briefs, because they played a little video for you to watch about the case, and they have like the rule, the holding, what's the rationale behind the court, and why they decided to do what they wanted to do. And I actually survived without it. I won't lie and say I haven't watched like their little videos just to get a picture of what was going on, but I did not purchase anything. And I was like a little pat on my back because I wanted to see if I could do it without it. But if I needed it, that's not a hit at anyone who did use it, because shoot, it's better to work smarter, not harder. And some reason I just like to make life hard on myself sometimes, right? But yeah, I managed to get throughout the semester without it. So anyone who is thinking like, oh, they didn't want to pay for it, because I believe it's like 200 and something for the year, and then like I think like they have different plans, so it's like 19 for like per month. And I was just like, let's see what you do, Yana. But for sure, yep, that was my experience with Quimby. And another big one that I know that a lot of law students, well, aspiring law students, they hear so much about is the cold calls. Cold calls, I'm going to tell you, cold calls are not as bad depending on who's doing the cold call. In a majority of my classes, I did experience cold calls, but I also was the type of student who would volunteer. That is a trick that you could try. If you volunteer often, then professors probably don't want to call on you. So then you can never probably be like surprised if they do call on you. And if they do call on you, you know, just let me backtrack because I'm going to come back to that. But yeah, the thing I tried to do was try to volunteer, not intentionally so that I wouldn't be cold called on, but I feel like I'm just that type of student who likes to raise my hand and answer questions if I can, you know. But when I was saying it depends on how one is cold calling you. So how I'll be cold called probably in criminal law is not the same as how I will be cold called in torts. My criminal law professor, he had like this deck of cards with like all our names on it and our faces, and he would pluck them and he'd be like, okay, well, what do you think about this? And if you didn't know how to answer the question, then he would try to move you in the correct direction of what answer he was looking for in order for you to get to the conclusion, so to make sure that you understood. Whereas though in torts, it felt like a pressure cooker every class, because it's just like this energy he brings to the class more so, and you just really didn't know where he was going because he would go on with long hypotheticals, and you just like, sometimes you get lost, like, where are we going with this? And then it's just like when you're called on, he is the type of professor that like, he just wants straight answers. So you know, if somebody asks you a question, you'll simply be like, oh yes, because blah blah blah. But he's like, he just wants you to stop at yes. I didn't ask you why, but I just asked you a simple yes or no question. Okay, valid. That's what I'm just gonna start doing, like just straight answer, because I have this thing of trying to over explain anyway. But that's besides the point. And it just felt like the end of the world if you were incorrect in that class, because of the fact that, you know, when somebody gives you like this weird look while you're talking and you're just like, you're not saying the right thing, and then they'll just be like no, and then go on to the next person, and then that was just like a violent space to be in. But I'm so glad to be over that class. But yeah, I feel like for the most part, cold calls aren't like bad depending on the professor who's cold calling. Professors should be trying to lead students to the answer that they want, to give them a chance to use it as a learning opportunity. And I actually, from my torts professor, I did learn that like they cold call you to have you think on your feet, because that's what you're going to have to do as a attorney. Obviously, you'll have time to prep for cases and stuff like that, but really just trying to exercise your like brain. So I'm just like, okay, each time, you're not about to embarrass me, sir. And I did realize, like, I'm not sure if anybody is in law school right now, but something I realized is that some of the times it wasn't a fact that I didn't know what the answer was. I may not just have understood based off the way that they asked the question. So in the event that you're in a class and you're doing a cold call, sometimes it's better to ask your professor, oh, can you rephrase that? I'm not really understanding what you're asking. Or after they rephrase it and you still don't know, and they're not trying to lead you to where you need to be, then the answer is just, I don't know. They're not going to strike you because you don't know. It's the way of life. I know sometimes it can be scary to be like, oh, I don't know. Like, what does that say about me? It just says that I need your help to teach me. That's why I'm here, right? I'm here at school because I want you guys to help me. So yeah, that's just my like little tidbit as far as with cold calls. I feel like for the most part, I was pretty good. Managed not to get called on in civil procedure the whole semester, so that was good. But yeah, that's all about classes. I guess to end the thing about classes, if I was ranking my classes in order, it would be contracts, criminal law, legal writing, civil procedure, and torts. And that I'm gonna stand on that. That was what my legal writing and civil procedure, they're going back and forth. It was like a day-to-day type thing. But yes, that is the spiel on classes for this semester. Next up, we're going to talk about relationships. Okay, so something I was kind of afraid of is that I wouldn't be able to communicate, like call people home at home a lot, because I was so filled up with like just homework and trying to get things done, because you know that support system is so important. And since I am in school by myself, in a new city by myself, you don't want to feel lonely. But I realized like you can call out to your family and friends and still get your work done, because at the end of the day, your work is going to get done. I was able to talk to my mom each night. Some nights I didn't talk to her, but it was fine. It was like, I understand why you're here. Was able to talk to my best friend. Missed a lot of her calls, but she loves me for it regardless. But I was still able to sustain those relationships even though I was in school, which I was glad to like be able to try out for myself, even though I heard some other YouTubers say that, yeah, you're still able to talk to your family. But I know a lot of people say, oh, well, you can't really talk to them as much. And I guess that just is based off your personal experience and how you juggle that and how much of that support you need from outside. And now the other part of relationships that I'm pretty sure you guys want to know, I think somebody asked me on the community tab, is about friends. Was it easy? Was it fast? So I came into school like, I'm going to try to be as open as possible to meet new people. This is a new environment and just show my personality. I did meet a lot of people when I first started school, and the girl I had met, she's in a different section. So QU has two sections, like daytime sections. I was in section, let me see if I even want to say that. Let's just say that I was in a section, right? And the girl I met was in a different section. And so I knew I wouldn't see her as much. And I did have people from my section who we shared the same student mentor. And I thought that was going to go further in relationship. But like when classes started, you know, people just spread out. So at the beginning, what happened? One of my good friends, she had reached out to me on GroupMe because I had made a LinkedIn post, and she was like, I would like to connect with you. So I saw her and we connected in school, and it turns out she was in my section. We sat next to each other, I believe, in a couple of classes. But for the most part, I had stayed to myself and was studying by myself at first. You know, just the way I'm here for a goal. I stopped making checks for this. So, but the least I can do is put my all in studying and trying to do that work so that I can get the best grades possible, because I'm trying to be an attorney and I'm trying to get a job at a firm, essentially. That's the goal. But eventually, another one of my friends, I'm just not saying their names because I don't know how comfortable they feel like with me saying my name on YouTube, but that's besides the point. One of my friends, one of my good friends now, she had came up to me and she was like, oh, do you want to go on the deck not the deck, because we have like a little deck to eat lunch outside if you want to. And I sat with them, and then I left, and then I went by myself again. And then another day I had saw them, and he was like, well, she was like, I have a room. She was like, you can come in there if you want to. So I was like, okay, I'll sit in there with you guys. And from that on, that time on, it was just like history. Now we just have fun, laugh, and all that other great stuff. So essentially, the people who I was hanging out with in the beginning, after being a little alone there for a little bit, which wasn't long. I feel like it was like a week, a week or two, honestly. But I've been friends with these people from the beginning of the semester, essentially, down to the end. We study together, write text together. That's You guys know who you are if you're watching this video. But yeah, I kept the same friends who I was friends with in the beginning, and then also I didn't want to be closed off to meeting other people. It's sometimes you gravitate towards people and then it can look like you're not receptive to having other people in your group, but I never wanted it to be that way. I wanted to always be open to talking to different people, meeting new people, and you know, I only know as much as people tell me. Try not to judge people. I'm just here to get a degree at the end of the day. That was like really my mantra going in. And I guess I could tell you a little bit about the culture of the school. I feel like people go into cliques, but I guess it depends on how you see the word cliques. I feel like there's people who, like I just said, gravitate towards other people. But just because they gravitate towards different people don't mean that they're like closed off, like, oh, I don't want to be your friend or I don't want to talk to you. Because I've talked to several of my classmates who I don't hang out with. And they're cool. It's just we don't hang out all the time. And so if that experience happens for you, don't get too scared about it. I feel like there are certain people who you should bond with, have people you can turn to in school, because you guys are all in this together, in the thick of it, learning this new way of learning, reading these cases. You want somebody to complain to, and then people who understand what you're complaining about. You can complain to people outside of it and be like, oh my God, this X, Y, and Z is happening. And like, I'm pretty sure they're open to listening to you, but they're like, oh, here this girl go again. Because I definitely was calling my best friend, telling her the same stories. But also having those law school friends, being able to make like little legal jokes and actually get the joke. But yeah, I hope that answered your question for the person who did ask about that. Also, I should say that I met people through like different events that I went to. So this semester I joined this program where they connected diverse students with different attorneys so that you can be their mentor. And I met a couple students at that event from different schools in the area, so that was fun. One thing law students do now is try to connect with people through, LinkedIn, and be like, oh, what's your LinkedIn? It's not even your Instagram anymore. So I just find that like really funny. Also, I met people through BOSA, another great way to meet different students, and then to meet people of your different, in your background, who's already kind of experienced this law school thing. People or upperclassmen who are willing to give their outlines at the beginning of the semester because they just want to see you succeed. So I'm just like, thank you. I also met a student from Yale as well when I went to like an academic retreat there. So I'm just like, it's just all these different opportunities to meet different people and to like show your personality. One thing you're going to be doing as an attorney is you're going to have to sell yourself essentially, because you want clients like personality. They want to see who they're going to be working with. Are you going to take care of them? Are you going to make them feel safe? So definitely just being able to open my network and meet different people has been an experience for sure. One thing, a tidbit I want to say is just be careful of getting into drama in school. Law school can be a little high school-y sometimes, just based off the different personalities. People sometimes are too focused on what other people are doing rather than just focusing on themselves. And it's just great to stay away from it because that's going to start to affect you in your work. So if you can stay away from the drama, stay out of it, I'm telling you, it's going to make your life a way smoother in law school, I'm telling you. So definitely just try to stay true to yourself and don't let anybody try to take you down for who you are or how you perform in class. If you know the answers, if you don't know the answers, it really doesn't matter. Sometimes people don't even pay attention to the cold calls. They just want it to be over and just hoping that it's not them. And 9 times out of 10, if you don't know an answer, I'm pretty sure somebody else in the class don't know the answer, or they're just so happy that the professor didn't call on them to scare them. But let's move on to the next segment. I'm going to talk about finals. Oh my gosh. Let me just start off saying that I had a lot of anxiety surrounding finals. And it's like, you took exams in undergrad and stuff like that, and in high school, but nothing is like this, because that one exam is going to determine your whole semester. And you can't make it up with like little assignments here and there and be like, okay, this is going to be cumulative. No. This one test that's going to test everything you learned during the semester, and did you really understand it? We have, and did you really understand it? Yes, that's the big thing. I'm going to start off with outlining, and then I'm going to go to the structure of final exams, okay? So, outlining. Somebody asked me, did I pre-make it? Did I look at pre-made ones, or did I make it myself? I did both. I made my contracts one from scratch, but I didn't finish it. I made my civil procedure outline from scratch. I made legal writing. Obviously, you don't need one. Criminal law, I did make from scratch because my professor was a new professor, so nobody had like any of his old outlines or anything like that. So, yeah. For torts, I did use like a commercial outline of somebody who actually took his class in 2009. That was like the holy grail to his class. It was like amazing. But I feel like it is good practice to do your outlines by yourself. And also, it's not a bad thing to see what other notes people have had. But make sure you don't rely, if you are using somebody else's outline, make sure not to just mainly focus on it, but also try to implement your notes, because sometimes people learn differently. So they have their outline set up based off how they understand it for them. And you want to make sure that you're actually using the outline as a supplement in order to help you better understand anything that you don't know, just so you can be clear. And that's why office hours is important as well, because sometimes professors will look over your outline in order to tell you that, oh, maybe you should fix this and that. Like, is this important to really know? And things like that. But yeah, like I was saying, it is very helpful to do it from scratch, but it's also great to see somebody else's and to see if the way they explain it as well is like beneficial for your learning, like just all on that front. And then also I would like to talk about, so for exams, they have two types of exams. You have open book exam and you have closed book exam. The open book exam, you would think would not have caused me so much anxiety, which was my civil procedure. I'm like, you got the answers right here, Yana. But I think it was nerve-wracking because one, it was my first exam, and two, it was just nerve-wracking because I'm like, I don't know what's going to be on the exam. I don't know what he's going to test, because obviously you can't test everything that you learned in a semester. You're only going to be able to pinpoint certain things. So I went into the exam and I'm like, okay, got my outline, looking back and forth like, we got this, we're doing great things. I don't know how I did that. I won't be doing my grade reveal until like little after after January, because apparently that's when our grades go in. So agony right now. How I felt after the first exam, I was like, okay, one down. And then also sometimes people be walking past you dropping like what they put on the exam, and sometimes you just have to run after an exam. Do not let people psych you out of, oh my God, you better have put this and that. That's not going to help you if you already have anxieties around the test, and then you hear people talking about what they did on the test. I felt safest talking to my friends about how I felt and discussing what answers we put and stuff like that, which is kind of odd because it's like you're still sharing that with someone else, but I felt more safer with my community and no judgment based off talking to them. And as my good sis says, I did what I could with the time that we had. So yes, I feel like after the open book exam with civil procedure, every other exam I was like way more calm. And that's why I'm saying, like, I feel like the nerves came from just approaching the finals for the first time and not really knowing what to expect. But after that first test, I was like, okay, I'll see what y'all doing now. As far as contracts, I felt confident about contracts, and now I'm kind of nervous because when you be feeling too confident on something, then it's a thing of, did you really do as good as you think you did? I can't worry about that. I swear I can't worry about it. One thing I know for sure is going to be in the B's or higher. I know that for sure because I know what I'm talking about in contracts. As far as torts, I left that up to God, honestly. Torts is going to do what it's going to do, honestly. So after I left that test, it was like this big release that I didn't even know that I was holding. Like, I was just so happy to be done. Like, have you ever been happy to not be doing something anymore? But yeah, after the exams and really experiencing it, I was like, girl, you won. You made it. If you follow me on Instagram, then you probably saw my post. But yes, Yana made it. And so now let's get into the final part of the video. Everything about mental health. I feel like a lot of the times we forget to talk about mental health in law school, and just like how it could be such a strain to be navigating just these new waters, going out into the legal field, and not only the legal field, but just this new environment of a learning curve, and to be dealing with the curve or the median, which I forgot to talk about in this video, but they take all the grades of like the different students, well, the professors' classes, usually 2 classes. They put all your grades in one line, and they take the median number. That's specific to my school. And based off whoever sets that median will determine if you're going to be on the top half of the class or you're going to be on the bottom of the class. So, people just hope to get in the B's or higher, which is what I'm trying to do. But, I can't stress too much on it. And the reason why I'm mentioning the median or the curve is because of the fact that you're put in this frenzy to compete with everyone and to try to be the best. And some people just preying on your downfall because they know if you're down some, then they can be higher than you. My mindset going into law school was simply just to worry about myself and to be in my own lane. I can't worry about what somebody else is doing or how well they are performing, because that's not going to make me a better law student. And I don't know who needs to hear this, but just because you get certain grades in school doesn't mean you're automatically going to be a great lawyer. There's a lot of people who are lawyers out here who shouldn't, but they are, but I digress. But yeah, I did reach a burnout this semester, just simply because I was in the library like from sometimes 9 to, well, not specifically in the library from 9 a.m., but I would have class at 9 a.m. and be done class by 3. And then I'm literally in the library after class, going every day, 8 to 9, basically. So I guess we can look at that as like 3 to 8 every day of class. And it became overwhelming so quickly. It kind of was like this thing I was looking at like, what am I doing with my life? Like obviously I understand what I'm doing with my life, but I'm just like, this can't be life. Like, I have to have a balance. And that's something that I struggle with a lot during this semester. I struggle with trying to give myself a break, because when I was giving myself a break, I felt like, oh my God, maybe I should be doing this. Maybe I should be working on my outline. Maybe I should be studying right now. Do I deserve this rest? And these are the like different things that like was going on in my head. And I'm just like, well, girl, why don't you deserve a break? And if you are, when you do decide to take the chance to rest, and all you're thinking about is, oh, maybe I should have been studying and doing X, Y, and Z. That's not going to help you. Mental health is so important because if you're not good within yourself, then how do you expect to perform at your best? And that's something that I'm going to definitely dedicate time to. At my school, we actually do have like a mental health services for you to be able to talk to people and stuff like that. But I know during the semester, it feels like, when do you have the time to do that? But you got to make time. You got to make time for things that are important. And I wish, because I'm trying to think, did I really need to go to therapy? I feel like it's always great to go to therapy. Your life doesn't always have to be going in shambles for you to go talk to someone and to be able to release. Sometimes you got things that you want to release that you don't even know that you need to release. So possibly getting involved with the campus, I think it's the campus therapist. It's something with like mental health. But yeah, I experienced burnout where I didn't feel like doing anything. I was just like so depleted, like wanting the days to go like fast, like I can't be here anymore. And sometimes I did have to leave the school. I was just like, I can't be here anymore. Like this, you start to hate the place that you go to school at. And that's why you got to have a healthy separation. So even when you're studying, you can change up like where you go and stuff like that. And I know this is like in the mental health section, but I did mention as far as study tactics, what I use for finals, which I forgot to mention, but I'm just going to do the little tidbit. For finals, as far as studying, I did the outline. I also did flashcards, like writing them down physically. And then also my school has this thing called spaced repetition where they have virtual cards and you can just like repeatedly look at them. Because they say if you do something repeatedly over and over again over a course of time, you can really know the law the way you need to. And I'm trying to see if there's anything else that I did not mention. Yeah, flashcards, outlining, and also talking to my friends was something that was really helpful for me with our little study groups. Being able to explain out loud what I knew told me that I didn't know what I was talking about because I was able to explain it to someone else. And even if you're a person who likes to study by yourself, it's good to also record yourself. Just talk about whatever topic. How much do you know? And you'll surprise yourself at the end of the semester. You'll be like, maybe I do know what I'm talking about. That's how it was. Yeah, when I was talking, I was just like, whoa, I really do know that? For real? Really? But that's everything that I wanted to say about studying. But back to mental health. Yes, just make sure sometimes you don't have to study always at the school. Changing up your environment can be very helpful as far as balancing your mental health, because who wants to be at school all day, especially when you just came from classes all day and not taking that breath. You feel like, oh, if I don't get this done now, then when is it going to get done? You're sitting there torturing yourself. Like, what is this? What is that? So yeah. Also, I did have one breakdown this semester, and now that I think about it, I laugh, which could be like a trauma response type thing, but the scene that I painted in my head is just like, come on, Yana. So in the beginning of the semester, I received an email I sent my professor my attempt at trying to do an outline, mind you. Nobody has taught me how to outline, and I'm just like, okay, well, I'm thinking this is how it's supposed to be, right? You know? And so I'm setting the outline up like that, and what happened? So I sent it to my professor, and he's like, I think you need to write, no, he said, I think you need to work on your writing and organization of this. And I was just like, are you talking to me? Oh my God. And it was just so dramatic because he really didn't say a lot. Just the fact that I needed to work on the writing of it and organizing and to go talk to the academic advisor. And I just took that as, oh, you think I'm a dumb bitch? Like, and so after I see this email, I'm just laying on the floor crying with my fucking what was it? With Erica Badu playing in the background. That is hilarious. Like every time I think about it, it's like so funny, but it's not funny because it's just like I was like, I came all this way and you're telling me that like I need work on this and that. Like, sir, do you not see that I tried? But he triggered me, and that's a whole different thing. But just after that, it was just like no more. I was like, I'm not about to be crying over you professors. It's like really not that deep. And so from then on, I was just like, I'm trying to do my best. And just because somebody give you feedback about what you need help on and what you need to fix, it's not a personal attack. And I think I took it very personally because I was like, oh, I spent all this time on that. And especially when you spend a lot of time on something and somebody is telling you that, oh, well, you need to do a little bit better. Of course, you're going to feel some type of way about it. But I have grown. People have given me feedback and I'm just like, okay, And then even in my legal writing class, even though I don't have grades right now, I did, I can't tell you like the grades that I received in that class specifically because we were consistently getting grades. For my first graded paper, I received an 85. And I'm like, okay, Anna, let's see how we can do better. You see, perfectionist. Like a B in law school is not like a big thing. My third paper that was graded, well, I said my third paper. My second paper that was graded, I received an 88. And my last paper that we just handed in as my final paper, I received a 94. And that's all I really wanted was an A in this class. Also, we did have this little email assignment that I was stressing really bad about, which I can't talk about. So she gave directives, but I feel like I needed a little bit more when I was like talking to her, asking her questions. And then at a point I realized she probably couldn't help me or answer the questions the way I needed to. And something I will tell you, when you do need help, sometimes you can go to other people in order to assist you. I had a lovely mentor who obviously is working in a firm, and she does like the emails surrounding sending out to clients. So I was like talking to her and I was like, oh my God, I really don't know what to do. And mind you, this paper was due that day, like at 11:59. I'm just like, I'm going to fail. She's going to give me a low grade. And my mentor, she was like, this is all great that you have in here, but your client is not going to care any about this. So just try to summarize this. And so then after that, she was really sick that day too. So I wasn't able to talk to her a little bit later on that day. But what happened? So later that night, I was just typing. Literally, it's like 10 something at night. And I was just like, I can't do it no more. And I feel like I was making it way more difficult than it really needed to be. But in that moment, I just felt like despair, and I'm like, oh my God, no. But I got through it. I did eventually get my grade back for that, and I received a 9 out of 10. And I was like, something I was stressing so much about, me thinking I'm about to fail, and I got a 9 out of 10. And then I'm just like, at that point, I was like, what am I even doing here in law school? I don't know. Like, at a point, if people ask me how you're doing, I don't know. Obviously. Like, I'm doing the best I can is all I can ever say. But that just goes to show that sometimes when things are due, you can start to psych yourself out. And I'm definitely a type of person that, like, if anything, if I am still editing on the day of that an assignment is due, then all I want to do is simply edit, like put in citations inside the writing if I need to, or look at little grammatical errors if I need to fix it up. I am not the type of person who wants to still be typing the paper on a day of that is due. That's just simply not going to work for me. Not at all. Also, if I haven't mentioned this already, you can, if that whole thing with the email assignment hasn't said anything, just simply, law school can be very overwhelming. And sometimes you don't want to talk about it because it's just like, it's exhausting to talk about and to think about. So you're just like sitting in your misery, but don't want to complain because it's like, I'm finally here, what I was working towards. And that's what I tried to tell myself, but it's also just as important to validate how you feel and to know that you belong there and that it's okay if you have like bad days. Even in your job that you love the most, you're not going to always have great days. You're going to have bad days, and that's just the way of life. So when you do become overwhelmed in law school, just feel that, you know, your feelings are valid. You are here for a reason. You are overwhelmed because this is a new way of learning. You're learning new material. You're learning triggering material. It's just feel that. Do some self-care. Something that I needed to work on a lot is some self-care. I remember this one weekend while I was at school. I went to go get my nails done, my feet done, and it lifted my spirits up, and I didn't even realize how it would lift my spirits up, like just doing that. And so I was just like, oh yeah, no. This is more so what you need to do. But obviously, don't got money like that to be going to the nail salon each month. Like, man, it really is a struggle. But just to find things that you enjoy doing. Don't just save it to like a Sunday and be like, okay, well, this is my self-care day. Try to implement things that make you happy inside each day. You deserve it. You deserve it. Like, that's all I have to say. Like, you really deserve it. And don't try to talk yourself out of it and saying that you don't. Or that, oh, maybe I need to be reading right now. That reading will be read. I'm pretty sure you didn't get here for nothing. Not at all. You are doing your big one. Remember that. My law school besties. That's what I'm gonna start calling you guys. If you think I should say something else, then let me know. But another big thing I forgot to talk about is imposter syndrome. I didn't experience more so, I did not experience thinking that I didn't belong in law school. I know I worked my ass off to be there, so I know I'm supposed to be there, but there can be times in class where you're probably not following, and you could be like, how is it that somebody else is getting it faster than me or understanding it faster, and it's just not clicking for me? Again, even though this shouldn't matter if other people don't understand or not, but I'm pretty sure you're not the only one in class who does not understand. And you know the best thing about it, if you don't understand, if you don't feel safe or comfortable asking in class, then definitely go to your professor's office hours so that you can make sure you are getting a better understanding when you're in class so that you can follow better. You're literally paying these people to teach you. And if you don't understand anything, then it's their job to make sure that you do understand. Because again, you're paying for this. So when you're in class and you probably see somebody in class always answer the questions right, or just always seem to be on top of their stuff, it's okay. Just because they're answering it correctly don't mean that they know everything. And even if they do know everything, what does that do to help you? If anything, I would think that would encourage you to push harder and be like, look, I need to know this material from the back of my head because I'm going to have to take an exam on it at the end of the semester. So if you're ever in class and you just feel like so lost and you're like, oh my God, what am I doing here? How do they understand? You got this. You're not the only one. Go to your professor's office hours so that they can help you get the material and that you'll be fine, you know? So that's my spill on the imposter syndrome. I also would like to talk a little bit about some self-care things that I would like to do. So I may have to get a job next semester just to have like money in my pockets because I need money. And so that I can put more so into just my own self-care. Sometimes you don't want to just stay in the house. sometimes you want to go outside with your friends and go hang out with them and do everything besides like law school. I'm the type of person who I like to binge watch. I like to watch movies, all that great stuff. So that's a good time for me. But I also like to go out with my friends and to hang out with them. So definitely, if you are able, that's why I'm like stressing this save money tactic, like, because you're going to need money during the semester, especially if you're not working, you know. But some new self-care things, I'm going to probably do like facials at home, and also setting boundaries with myself. That is something within self-care, mental health. You have to have boundaries. When I say that I'm not doing work on this day, I'm not doing work on this day. There's non-negotiables. If I can't follow my own boundaries that I set for myself, how do I expect people to follow my boundaries that I'm setting for them? So it starts at home. Definitely setting boundaries for myself. I'm no longer guilting myself into, oh my God, Yana, you should be doing this and you should be doing that. The work is going to get done. I'm going to understand what I'm learning, because I'm going to take those steps throughout the semester to make sure that I understand what I'm doing and that I'm learning what I need to in order to put inside my outline, because that's also another thing. Next semester, I am starting outlining from the beginning of the semester. I understand why people say to outline in the beginning, but I feel like when you're telling new students to outline from the beginning of the semester, I feel like you need to have a video on how to outline, which I will be providing. If you guys would like to see, please comment down in the comment box if you would like to see a video on how to outline for like any course, so that you know how to go about it if you are incoming 0L, turn 1L into the next semester. So yes, I'm giving myself more grace and just giving myself a pat on the back that I did this. This is Yan Yan, and I'm doing my big one currently because I'm still in law school and I'm still pushing through and I'm doing what I need to. Sometimes you just gotta lift yourself up, because who else gonna lift you up like you do yourself? And you know, that's all I want to say about mental health. But I just want to say, have a sigh of relief and just say, like, I am so excited to have made it this far. I am now trying to find jobs to apply to, as I said earlier in the video. And I'm just so happy to be done. I know I'm about to be in the swing of things again within the next couple weeks, but I just feel really good to be at home, to be around my family, and to just feel that love. Like, I'm going to get to a goal that I wanted to do for some time now, and it's just so surreal to really be experiencing it and to be living it, and just to know that Yana, it's okay. You are here. You did what you said you was going to do, and you spoke that up into existence. For anybody who has been here since the beginning of my law series that I have created, you guys know what I said at the beginning of the year. I was like, I am going to law school, and I really meant that. I spoke that up, and I worked towards what I wanted, and I'm just so happy. So even with all sometimes the downsides and the very happy moments, the hard moments, I wouldn't take this back for anything, because I'm supposed to be here and I'm just here for the ride. I'm enjoying it. So for anybody who is new to my page, thank you again. And if you stayed to the end of the video and watched this whole recap, I feel like you guys deserved it, because I was not here. But just thank you for any new subscribers who actually enjoy my content. If you have any advice on what you would like to see, or what would you like to know or learn, just please don't hesitate to reach out. I feel like my email address is in my bio. I'm always open to answering emails and giving advice where I can. So again, thank you so much for sticking with me, watching this video through. And I'm just so happy to be back, you guys. I'm going to try to vlog. I think a lot of me not vlogging was because I was doing the same thing. But if you guys would like to see like study with me's, or like do homework with me, then definitely I'm open to do it. Just let me know. I don't know if that's like interesting for you guys to see or not, but yes. Thank you guys. This is the end of the video. Thank you for sticking with me. As always, please like, comment, and subscribe, and share the video if you are liking the content. I am trying to come back, you guys. So have a happy holidays, and thank you again for the support. Bye, you guys.